So the event that I'm preparing for is not by any means the norm. For me, this is actually sort of a fish out of water integration of a couple different aspects of my life. I was asked to be part of the entertainment crew at an event in Cambridge. It's located at the Sonia section of the Middle East nightclub. Middle East, if you haven't been there before, has like upstairs, downstairs, all these different sections. They have a full like dining restaurant stuff attached to the building. And this is where the event will be taking place. And so it's a very large scale venue. The nature of the event is they do have dancers, they have aerialists, they have face painters, like people are going to be on, face painting, body painting. I believe they have like caricaturists and like a number of different types of art infusions. It's going to be, I am a little bit concerned about having so many people together, but they do have a really strict vaccination policy that you have to have had at least the first 2 vaccinations before you venture into even thinking about purchasing a ticket, or I think you have to show them at the door as well. And I feel like it's interesting. It's a type of event that I tend not to do anything that's too gimmicky. Like the last event that they had was in October, and it was all themed about like making ritual sacrifices, and it was, so again, I know that that's extreme terminology, but basically like they were saying like every service that you could get from someone is a ritual. So like if somebody was selling like body sprays and stuff that was more like, spell adjacent, like that would be a ritual. Or if somebody was using their coins or tickets or whatever towards another like activity, they would be, have like, okay, that's this amount of tokens, that's this amount of tokens. And I've been going back and forth myself, and the reason I said yes is just to try and like get back into the swing of things, to try and get out of my comfort zone, in the sense that like I really would like to open my door to some new and different opportunities. Things have been so stagnant for so long that I'm really trying to push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. And this event is centered around love. Like it's very like Aphrodite themed. It's all passion, all like super self-love focused, passionate love focused, and it's gonna be interesting because obviously it's right before Valentine's Day. This is the 5th, so it's the Saturday. And then like I had mentioned, I'm gonna be going up the Friday before and probably not leaving until the Monday to just kind of do some of my own sightseeing, some of my own other nightclub things that I might do. Chinatown in Boston has some of my favorite food, so we'll see. I think that it's gonna put me in, kind of shock me out of my funk I've been in, hopefully. I know that's a lot to put on someone else, and I think that it'll be a great new way to put my business cards back out into the world, my website advertisements and things like that I can do potentially to a new audience that's not that far away. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun. And the ability to play a character while doing so is sort of appealing because it's a little bit like you're in this character for the night, and it's all a little bit of the fantastic. Like, it takes you into, it's a total immersion thing of like, here's you're creating like a character name and a character bio of like, here's, you know, Madam whoever, or here's seductress whoever, and, you know, people who are on stage and people who are on like the outskirts of different types of tasks and different types of artisans that'll be like sprinkled in around around the center stage where like the lyra and different things are going to be going. Obviously there's gonna be food served, bar will be around, and it'll be fun. So this weekend I have a really big event coming up in Boston, and I just kind of wanted to start and show you what I have packed, what I'm doing now to kind of help my skin, my hair, and everything else kind of get ready for that and be in optimal condition. This is mostly makeup and hairspray, and in here I have, this is obviously one big bag containing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 4 large size and a couple smaller cosmetic bags. So obviously that's not just makeup, it's soap, shampoo, and conditioner. I have a hairspray with me, everything that you need or might need in a situation. I don't really like to make stops when on trips like that, so I like to make sure I have all of my toiletries ahead of time. I also have some things that like might not make sense to everybody, and I just wanted to do a little bit of an FYI. I know this is my first like get ready with me informational video that I'm doing kind of for the first time in a while, but my goal with this channel was to be makeup and mayhem, and obviously lately it's been a lot more mayhem than anything. So this is my first work event in a little bit, and I just want to show you what goes into that, how I get ready. I have a hair mask on. I'm like deep conditioning right now. You can see I have moisturizer. I did my whole thing of dermaplaning, waxing, everything just to make sure my hairline back here, because I do, for the most part, I do my own pixie cuts. I like to do like that tapered, very V-shaped situation. So Scotch tape might not make sense to everybody, but if you do your makeup a lot, it's sort of a cheat for, right now they have like the more designed for it alternative, but it's basically so you put your piece of tape like under here, and I'm confident I may have done it in a previous video, but you basically follow your eyeline and it basically cuts your eyeliner for you, makes it super crisp so your application is there, and then you can just take the tape off and it's like a super beautiful straight line. And it's not that I don't know how to do eyeliner or stuff without it, but it does make a lot of time. It saves a lot of, saves everybody a lot of grief. In here I also have my Digicam packed. I'm going to be bringing my laptop with me, and I'm trying to think, can I move around the room? I feel like for the most part I'm really good at packing. I tend to do, like, I'll pack more than what I need whenever I can get away with it, whenever I know it won't be a problem. Because this isn't a case where I'm flying. Obviously if you're flying you're specifically stuck with 2 bags. So what I might do here is I have this bag, I have my laptop bag, that I will have. I'm putting up my laptop and you can't really see, but and then I'm going to need a couple outfits. So I am actually extending, it's not just that I'm going for the event, but I am going to extend my stay in Boston for the weekend, so I'm going to go to some other clubs. Might try and do like a couple museums or something different. It's been a while since I've done anything like this. This is the first time since quarantine that I've been to Boston, I believe, not for any length of time. Like to do any type of weekend away hasn't really happened too much. Like I did my trip to Florida last year. Well, excuse me, I might be speaking out of turn. I did do 2 trips to Florida last year throughout like my school trip, and then my second trip to school, like to volunteer there. And then I guess basically what I mean is that it's not a trip that's like, it's not for family, I'm not visiting family, I'm not, like there's no other purpose to it other than like I work for a couple hours in the evening one of the nights, and then the rest of it's just gonna be a good time, a good fun time. So I kind of have the free reign here, and it'll be awesome. It's a little bit of a delayed kind of birthday situation, because we really weren't, you know, I wasn't really able to do anything on my birthday because I wasn't feeling well. I did like one really small thing, but this will be like more of a extension of celebration, if that makes sense. So some of the less fun items that are still critical that I pack, I have an electrolyte drink mix. I've been, like I said, with my symptoms, I tend to carry a lot of stress in my physical body because there's like the hypervigilance of like what's going to come around every corner and who am I going to run into, and like really just some of it's very much warranted, but some of it is just more on the extreme end. I have some extra nutrient packs, good for my muscles, especially my shoulder blade area. This is not a pre-workout. My pre-workout is downstairs. I have this is my massage gun kit. I also have a cupping kit that I purchased during the pandemic, and both the cupping system and the massage gun are, I believe they're from Amazon. It was before I tried my best to stop shopping there, but during the pandemic it was like one of the only places that had stuff, and everything else was wiped out when we couldn't go anywhere. So this brand is really good. The kit, I can't open it and hold it up this way, but there is the massage gun itself comes with like 6 or 7 different tools. It has some metal tool heads, that way you can use them with body oils and regular massage oils. And the cupping system I'll show to you. So this is just sort of generic. I know the black box itself is nondescript. And then it opens up like this. Let me disappear for a second. Has all the different sizes. There's from largest to smallest. The gun itself works on like a suction. It slowly suctions the air out so you can have it on a lighter suction or a more deep suction. Obviously the more difficult part about this is that because of the event that I'm doing, you don't necessarily want to have bruises all over your body that people are going to be asking questions about, or you know, that even if nobody is like, hey, why do you have this giant purple circle, it does kind of like, people will like it's a deterrent, you know, because it looks strange, unusual to have like a giant circle purple bruise. These are really also good for my my whole quad area. I have like my IT band, my quads, and honestly all of my leg muscles. Like my hamstrings are the worst, but my quad is just like a really large muscle group, and that's from when I was doing kickboxing and boxing more. I also, when I was on swim team and when I was dancing as a kid, dancing as, you know, in high school and all kinds of things. So the hardest part is for me sometimes is to remember you can't just pack like your costume, your outfit for that one day. You have to think about all the things that lead up to it. So that's why I'm making an effort to, like, I'm packing now. I'm sure I'll double check it, triple check it later. You can't just pack your fun, like, shoes and costumes for that evening. You have to think about, like, are you going to want your own slippers? Are you going to want your own flip-flops? Are you going to want your own, you know, all the little stuff that goes into your day, that you, yes, you can think about, okay, I'm going to be walking around accessory, you know, other than the event, I'm going to want sneakers or I'm going to want flat shoes, but also, like, there are just, like, those little comforts that you might not be able to purchase even when you get somewhere. And again, like, really the goal is you don't want to be having to go out of your way in unnecessary trips and stops. So this includes, like, you're going to want to do tank tops if you have, like, the rollout flats that they sell them for, like, I know they sell them at, like, bridesmaids, like, supply stores and things like that, like event supplies. It's like you bring your flats with you so that you, like, they roll basically into your purse. It's not something I utilize a lot, but for special events like this, you might want to be changing immediately out of your shoes or immediately, like, basically only wearing them for that night. I haven't picked the exact shoes I'm going to wear, but I think I'm going to do, like, a 7 or 8 inch platform, so you can imagine, like, you're not going to want to be walking on what might potentially be, like, a regular Boston sidewalk that, you know, in Cambridge too, like, you could do, if there's cobblestones or paver stones, like, you don't really have control over that, and you are going to need to, like, function, you know. So that also you don't really want to be, for me, it's easier and just more, it's for the benefit of everyone if you're just in, like, regular clothes when you go in and out, and I've tried to do that before, where I was wearing, like, things that were just, like, less flashy, and now, like, I'm kind of at the point where you can go in and out in, like, sweatpants and jeans, and, like, for the most part, have your makeup done, but just, like, change when you get to your thing. That way you're not inconvenienced, you're not getting, like, you know, looked at in a particular way, you're not getting, like, the unsolicited, like, or unwanted attention. So another thing I'm just really trying to be more kind to myself about for right now is I've been recording a lot on my laptop, and of course in my course of doing that you can see, like, the history of, you know, all the photos, all the videos you've ever taken, and you can see, like, where some places my face looks really skinny and I look really lean, and some places I look bigger than this, and that's just, I have to learn to be more at peace with that, and the same thing really applies to all the clothes behind me. I've gotten better at having more of a range because I'm just me and my genetics. I do fluctuate a lot personally. You know, a fluctuation of 10 or 15 pounds is kind of like the average, and it's just the way that you carry yourself, because for me, a lot of it is, you know, top heavy weight, but there is, like, I have to continually remind myself, like, I have a lot of leg muscle weighs more than fat, I'm working on, like, particular muscle groups, I'm, you know, trying to just remind myself to be kind to myself, because for me, I'm always the first person to, like, cheer other people on when they're, like, self-conscious and stuff. So I'm really just trying to walk myself through those same motions, and it's really difficult because, you know, there's the inner voice of, like, you know, what do you think you're doing wearing that, or what do you think you're doing even having purchased that? And some of that is, like, not just my own voice to myself, but I definitely, like, those are things that my aunt has said to me. Like, one time I think it couldn't have been more than, like, you know, 20 maybe, and had gone through, like, a very serious breakup at that time, 21, and my aunt looked me in the face, she was like, don't gain weight, and I was like, what? Like, again, like, had just gone through this really serious traumatic thing, and she thought she was doing me a favor, like, pulling me aside and being like, do not gain any more weight. And I was like, I just need, like, love and support, and, like, this is the first thing off the tip of your tongue, like, totally unsolicited. That's what her verbiage was to me. And obviously, we are 8 years after, 7 years after that, and it's still, like, that's the thing that, like, rings in my ears all the time. There was definitely a lot of that from my mom, whether she thought, like, my clothes weren't whatever, or, like, that I would never wear that attitude. And those are things that I'm better at taking them in stride now, but there are ones that are pre-existing that are, like, in my head probably forever. So if you're out there and you're trying to raise a young daughter, or if you're, like, the fun aunt or whatever, like, just be really careful what you say in terms of body image, because, like, a lot of it was not only aimed at me, but it was, like, the way that I saw other people in my immediate sphere, like, talking about themselves while I was young. I was like, this is just regular. This is what people do. They hate themselves in the mirror, and they say they don't like themselves all the time out loud, so why would I grow up to be anything different? Like, this is what it is. And whether it's, again, whether it's conscious or unconscious, it's those people might have been conscious how frequently they were doing those activities, and I, even to this day, like, I have to make a concerted effort to pick up on those things and kind of nip them in the bud before they go off the bandwagon, because then I'll be like, oh, let me go buy some more, like, Lipo-X, which I have, or Hydroxycut, or let me go get whatever, let me get back on doing apple cider vinegar and 36-hour cleanses, and, like, I'm trying not to, you know, I don't want to knock any of those things individually, but the behaviors that lead up to them for me are really just negative and cyclical. Like, there are points where I've done Weight Watchers and been really happy on that. There are points where I've done keto and been really successful on that, but it's just, I'm trying to do something that isn't going to be a fad. I'm trying to make, like, lifestyle changes at this point, because I don't want to buy somebody's, like, greens formula and I'm gonna run out of it in 6 months, and then I'm gonna be even more upset. Or, like, I'm kind of just trying to do more of the intuitive thing of, like, okay, trying to eat more salads, trying to do more common sense things, and, like, order a side salad instead of God knows what else. And like I said, you know, putting weights in here in my immediate sphere and buying new weights for myself has been important, because that's easy things I can just reach over and grab at almost any time. Or I have a yoga mat here, I have a yoga mat at work. Well, at my studio where I do cards and I do Reiki, I have yoga mat, yoga blocks there for, like, when it's nice and quiet, I don't have anybody, I can kind of, like, do my stretches first thing in the morning. I'm looking into other gyms, but I was going to Planet Fitness really diligently. And yeah, so that's not really the topic for this video, but it is something that, like, it's just as important for me to do that kind of mental prep work, you know, of, like, okay, I want to go in there and be confident, do all these things, and be happy with what I'm wearing, and to just be cognizant of, like, I don't want to catch my reflection and then beat myself up all day, because I have historically done that. Something else that not a lot of people are going to necessarily talk about are Microdermabrasion Razors. This is winter, everybody has a lot of potentially extra dead skin. People aren't really going for pedicures and open air self-care things as much, because a lot of female people or female presenting people might just be like, okay, I'm in full sweaters, full body leggings, full whatever, what's the point? So these are really good for not only, like I said, the tapering the part of your, like, the base of your neck. Women tend to do the V shape that's a little bit more feminine than to do a square neck. So that really looks like holding, looking in your bathroom mirror and holding another mirror so that you can see behind you. And for me, I'm wearing something sleeveless, so I'm gonna do basically like from here down, just really like for the best I can, just really eliminate that dead skin space. I also have a body brush that's already packed because it's not something I use a lot, but there was a point in my life where I was doing tanning beds and fake tanning, and as of right now, it's just not something, like, I'm trying to shake my head out of that phase and out of that space. So it's just something that's hard to break a habit of, because for me, I'm like, oh, I'm pale, I look disgusting, or oh, whatever, I look disgusting, but like, these are things that just out of habit I still do for myself to really just eliminate, the dead skin is a good thing, obviously the same as you would do for your face, you do moisturizer, you do whatever. Waxing takes a lot of dead skin off, and, unclogs pores and different things, so it's really just a matter of self-care. You're giving your skin like a literal fresh chance, fresh start. Your lotion's going to go on a lot more smoothly. And just in general, it's going to make you feel better, more confident when you're not worried about like, oh, am I going to be like dropping all kinds of flaky, ashy skin